More
so
than
it's
that.
you that keeps him sane, yeah?
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
The Rock.
Yeah, he's the rock. He's essentially the one that always keeps me sane.
He's the visionary.
Or something like
He's
that.
the one slowly telling me, you know what? You should do it this way or else it's not gonna work.
Years ago, I was 8, so my dad has always been into cars. So a buddy of him, he was in the army, and a buddy of him had a Porsche 914, brought it over, did some electrical work on it. He would ask me stuff like, hey, can you pass me this? Can you pass me that? I was 8, so I was learning there. So from there, we gave back the car, it's ready, and they gave me a 67 Volkswagen Beetle with a rack top.
What about you? How'd you get into this?
Okay, so since I was very, very little, I've always had infatuation with cars, man. It's been like that since I can remember. I used to see my grandfather work on them all the time. My dad was into them as well, and then it all snowballed from there. I mean, it's just I remember having Hot Wheels all around like the table and stuff like that, and just playing with them all day long, thinking I had the best racetrack in the world.
Did you ever smush one down and try to drop it?
Hell yeah. Yeah, all that stuff. You have to do when you're that age, man.
So what I've noticed in this is a lot of people come here a couple different ways. Primarily, they're in the military and maybe get exposure and come over. And militaries have always been kind of gearheads. That's how we got, T-buckets and stuff, right?
True.
And the other way that I've noticed is a lot of people found this route through like an extreme sport route. For me, I was a rollerblader kind of guy. A lot of people were skaters, BMX. Jack that works here, he's a BMX guy. And so, like, that's how we got in. Like, tell me your story about how you fell in love with the JDM stuff.
JDM stuff? Okay, so that was, I want to say, when I was probably 6, 7 years old. I remember someone, and I think it was one of my uncles, he brought over a magazine. And in that magazine, I saw a car that I'd never seen before, right? So back then, I wasn't looking at, is it JDM or not. I just thought that car, a Skyline, way back when. So I remember that like it was yesterday, man. I saw that and I was like, this is a car that I've never seen before, and I love the lines of it, but I've never seen it in person, obviously. And I was like, this might be a cool car to own one day, But we were little. What did I know?
Right.
Fast forward, I started seeing my grandfather working on cars, and at that time, it was weird because my love for cars was still there, but I was facing out into other stuff. So I was facing out into video games. I was facing out into computers. So I became kind of like a nerd.
What was your JDM like jump off video game?
Woo! I want to say Gran Turismo is everybody's, JDM probably. I'm pretty sure I played a lot of the Super Famicom games when I was growing up, emulators.
Super nerd shit.
Yeah, super nerd shit.
What about you? How'd you get into the JDM stuff?
Well, like I said, I had the Volkswagen. After that, I transitioned to a Volkswagen Bus, 2 of them. And my dad will always bring these magazines. It was all Volkswagen Trends, Hot BWs, until one day he brought over an Import Tuner magazine. I started seeing all the stuff that people were doing out here in the States, and all these cars, Hondas, Mitsubishis, Nissans. And slowly after that, I got a Nissan 240SX, an S13. It was coupe. Pop-up headlights, US version. But I remember I went to a local shop in Puerto Rico and asking them, hey, can you get me an S13 front end? They didn't even know what it was. So I started doing my own research. I ended up selling it, but from there I kept on buying and selling. And I also went into the video game side, and my video game that started the whole JDM side, because I had Gran Turismo.
Sure.
But what really got me into the what's this culture was Tokyo Extreme Racer, PlayStation 2.
Heck
Yeah, because that one video game, it wasn't only a video game. It was real life. It had a documentary where it showed everybody racing in the Wangan, like Kobayashi,
MCR.
Yep.
All those
and
people,
seeing
man.
that from there, it ignited it.
It makes me think though, like, how did you get wrapped in this pop-up JDM?
Well, I've helped Eric to pick up the cars, to see the cars, and
So you've driven a lot of different
then
stuff,
I
huh?
drop. Yeah. I've driven some of them.
Some of them.
No,
That's very modest.
not all, but some of them. These cars are really awesome. It's his technology from the 80s, 90s is for me is better than technology a new car has.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but Eric has a R32, and it's awesome because it's a car with more than 30 years probably now.
Yeah, 30 years old, 31.
31 years, and it's had the old technology that a brand new car has.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But back then.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they call it Godzilla for a reason.
yeah.
True.
That's
yeah,
right.
Sure.
True.
I believe it's won every
I-
Group A race ever entered.
Exactly.
Yeah,
29 out of 29 races.
yeah.
So.
Probably that car when wasn't the first time in the street cost a lot of money. Then with the depreciation and things happens in time. But right now, if you want that kind of car, you have to pay a lot of money for it because
They went back.
Collector. Yeah.
it worth it. It's worth it. For me, it was worth it.
And they went back to what they originally cost and then some.
So like back in talking about that, so like when we first started, you could get an R32 for like $8,000 or $9,000.
Exactly. 2010, if you were to look in 2010, you were to go back in time, you could get R32 GTRs for as low as $7,000 to $8,000. That is a big difference, right?
That customer's happy right now.
Oh yeah, you bet. You
So
bet.
speaking of that, like it takes a special kind of tenacity to want a car from another country
Of course.
and suffer the brain damage it takes to learn the bureaucratic process to actually get the car to drive it legally and follow all the correct steps. It's quite a process. Tell me about how you got into that. What motivated you to take that journey?
Well, after I did the little technology stuff and I was into computers, studied all that, I fell into it naturally. I was just daydreaming, I guess, and it's like, you know what? I'm thinking about that car again that I've always seen in magazines and video games.
I know the feeling.
Yes, and I was like, I started looking into it, and I started researching into what was that car. You got to remember, that was years ago, and I was just coming back to it now. So I felt like I was a kid again. I was researching like you have no idea. Late nights, 2, 3 in the morning, just looking into what cars were that I wanted, and specifically, it turns out that the R32 GTR was the one that ignited.
So you
My
found that you
search.
want the 32.
Yeah,
right?
I found out that I wanted that car.
Then you found it in Japan.
Yeah, I found it in Japan. It was an exporter, essentially. I looked everywhere, though. I looked in the UK, I looked in Australia. Obviously, I settled in motherland, Nippon. So I went there. I found it at an exporter that mainly deals with European cars. So I had that feeling that they didn't have a whole lot of experience in that sort of car, but at the same time, I just went ahead with it. I took the chance.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of the people that have brought these, got these cars from us or somebody else have had the same mentality. Wow, I'm sending money out.
Yes.
To somebody that I don't know.
Correct.
And to, a car that I'd never seen.
Yes.
So I legit took the plunge on that and just got the car. The car, I got it in 2011. Mm-hmm. And I stored it for 3 years, 3.5 years. In that process, I was scared. Of course. I was super scared. I was still confident that I was going to get the car, but still in the back of my mind, I was like, wow, okay, now this is real. But I would do anything to get my dream. So
totally.
And in that lapse of time, something came to mind that was sparked doing what I do now.
Yes.
If I'm doing this and I went through the process and I went through the trouble of doing all this, I'm pretty sure there's way more people that are wanting to do this.
And that kind of brings me to the point too, and I was just going to elaborate is, kind of for me, my own thing is, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been bringing in Honda parts from Japan since the 2000s, and I brought my first car over in 2001, and even then it was less strict, but it was still a pain. I remember, bringing the car over and taking a Greyhound bus from Colorado to Long Beach, and at Long Beach at the port, I went to the ocean container lines, and mind you, I'm in Long Beach just walking around, like past Polytechnic High School, and the mailman's riding his bike fast as he can with the guy running after saying, "Give me your bike, punk!" And so I'm like 20 years old.
That's a way to start your day, huh?
I have no idea where I'm in a foreign city. There's like crazy gangster shit going on. And so we finally get to Ocean Container Lines. They release it, and then the container had to be shipped to Compton and then brought out there. So even back then, it was harder. Now it's kind of more mainstream, and people, the processes are more. The internet, we didn't really have the internet back then. So my point is, I kind of use that as fuel and kind of want to help other people save all that brain damage.
True.
Right?
True.
And so like we kind of work together and work well because we share that same experience where for us it's just about the passion. You know, I remember looking up honda.co.jp, looking at what we got ripped off on in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And so to be able to bring this experience to the people, and you mentioned, playing the game and racing in the Wangan. My first experience to Japan was being picked up in an R32 with almost 1,000 horsepower. In the middle of the night, the guy I'm with stops and says, "This is the highway everyone does 200 on. Should we do a go at it?" And did it.
And of course you said no.
Swear.
No, of course not.
So so I didn't even really know what I was living at the time. Like I had to get older to really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right? And so we kind of embody that. And so for me, that initial jump off, so I was fixing Hondas, I got into it, I went to Japan, got the bug, right? And so obviously you guys got that bug. And so how did you two link up? How did the Anthony Eric show start?
Well, we had should I say it or should you say it?
So we had a friend in common.
It's a good story.
And this friend, he had JDM cars in Puerto Rico. Eric had his JDM cars, so they met. And eventually we met up one day because this one friend, he brought over our 33 GTST. And we met up at a place. That's where I met Eric.
Exactly. And I had my Galant VR4, my freshly imported right-hand drive Galant VR4. I was the only one in Puerto Rico at the time.
Yeah. And I was driving my Yugo.
And he was driving his awesome Yugo. And then we met right there and then. And that's where it all started. I mean, that's pretty much.
Yeah, it was just a friendship. We would nowadays you friend everybody on Facebook basically.
Right. Yeah.
So we were talking all the time on Facebook. He went to Japan in 2017. I saw all the pictures and everything, and I'm like, I've always wanted to go to Japan. I've been on it telling everybody I'm gonna go to Japan. I'm gonna go to Japan. But I never did. He went on like, I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go. So 2017, after he went, I asked, where did you go? What can I do? So I went to Japan. 5 days. It wasn't enough, but 5 days, overwhelming. It was an experience.
It changes you, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, it's not only the car culture. I mean, their own culture, the food, the cleanliness, everything.
The attention to detail.
Everything.
There was someone cleaning the escalator wall.
Yeah.
While I was riding it.
Everything. It's just so different. When I came back, I was telling him, dude, this was the best trip of my life. We got to do it again. It's amazing. 2018. We went back to Japan. That's when we went together with another friend from Puerto Rico, Anthony Galarza.
Yeah, Anthony Galarza.
We went there, and that's where we met the exporters from Japan. Which funny enough, before we went there, I was already sending friend requests to people that he already knew in Japan.
Yeah.
And we told him, yeah, we're gonna go to Japan on this time, October. Can we do something? So our friend in Japan, Moa, he made an event on Facebook. Let's do an initial detour.
Exactly. Oh, that's right, the initial detour.
Because mostly everybody that's into cars, it's about a lot of people get into JDM cars because of Initial D or Wanga Midnight. So there we were. We met up at a parking lot. A whole bunch of people, like all sorts of cars, and they weren't all Japanese. There were people from the UK. There were people from France, people
Italy,
from US. Japanese, of course. We just met up there and we hit the road from Chiojiri, which is a couple hours drive, like 2 hours,
2.5 hours,
2.5
something like-
hours to
yeah.
go up to Gunma to all these iconic places that's in Initial D. And before getting to the Initial D spot, we stop at a rest stop after a toll, just to get some drinks, some stuff, go to the restroom, and we were just standing there talking. And I told everybody, it's amazing. We just met this morning, and we're treating each other like brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like we've known each other our whole lives. There wasn't like a little group here, a little group there. Like, okay, who
There wasn't
are these?
any animosity
No,
between
no,
us
we
or
were
stuff
just
like that. It was just
like
flowed
we all knew
naturally.
each other from all.
It's kind of the way it is,
contexts.
right? It's like a weird vibe.
Yeah.
People, it's like a family.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
from there on, started working with him, helping him with the import.
You guys met James out there that time too, yeah?
Yeah,
in Nagoya. Yeah.
yeah. That was the very first time we met James, 2018.
In the garage Saurus gorilla car.
That garage store's car, man. Yeah, so we met him that time. We went to a shop that a buddy of his had, and there was this garage store's white
R32.
R32 GTR, beautiful car, and there was also a red Porsche,
The
Sunburst.
The
96
Sunburst kit.
Force
The
Sunburst Porsche.
Sunburst Porsche.
Wide body Porsches.
Oh yeah.
That Porsche, you step on it and it goes, it screams.
So
Wait a minute, didn't you guys also rent some cars and drive some pretty sweet roads?
2019.
yes.
So that was 2018. We went back in 2019, and we rented from Momochiro.
Yes.
We rented. It was a Nissan Stagia,
260 RS.
260 RS, a Mitsubishi Evo wagon,
Nice.
and the
FD2
Civic
Type R.
FD2 Civic Type R. And we drove. It took us. It was. It's about 2.5 hours from Narita, where Omoshiro is, to Hakone by Mount Fuji to the Hakone Turnpike. That anybody knows, that's one of the spots. If you're a car enthusiast, you got to go there and you got to rip on a car.
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
it
It's
was
one
an
of the-
experience.
One of the best driving experiences I've ever had, quite frankly. Because just going up and down Hakone, you're seeing all the wilderness and the trees and
Feeling the energy.
It's beautiful. You get to see Mount Fuji as soon as you go up.
Oh wow.
You see it on the right. Yeah, it's just an amazing experience. I wouldn't trade that for. It's just Japan. We could go on about and talk about Japan all day, every day, because it's something that, quite frankly, has changed our lives, and it's something that to us is just part of who we are. It's just
Right.
part of who we are.
And so it's a full immersion in the culture. Like you guys went out and met with Global and did a chat with him.
Yeah, Hiroyuki-san was really nice. We very nice guy. I went with actually Yuyin
Yes.
to Global Auto in Osaka, and that guy was just he treated us like family. He didn't even knew us,
Right.
It's so weird.
That's the thing about Japan. Their culture, how they are with people. It's like you're one of them.
I've noticed in Japan, so I've been in other foreign countries, and if you try to talk the language, they look at you stupid, like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And in Japan, it seems like they were like deeply appreciative, for making an effort.
Even if you try,
And I feel like in Japan, even if they don't like you at all, they'll still help you find your wallet.
That's a good story right there. That's a very good story. Okay, I'm going to tell that one actually. So 2017. This is a good one. As soon as I got into Narita Airport and took the train to Ikebukuro, I was overwhelmed. It was my first time going there, so I saw the buildings and I saw the shops, all the lights, and I was like, oh my God, the dream has realized, right?
Right.
So I was into this trends of seeing all of this that I've always seen when I was a kid, movies, anime, video games, and I just was overwhelmed with all that. So I enter this shop,
Yeah.
and as soon as I enter that shop, we buy stuff, get out, go to sleep, forget about everything else. As soon as I wake up, we're about to leave, I can't find my wallet. Looked everywhere, can't find it in my room. Looked outside, couldn't find it outside. So me, super desperate, I go, okay, my first day, right? Already, no wallet. That's great, Eric. Yes, very first day. So I go into my buddy was in another room. I tell him the situation, explain that to him. He looks at me dead in the eye. Okay, let's go find your wallet. I did not understand that at the time. I was like, what's going on? Why are you so calm? I just told you I lost my wallet. That's okay, I know. We'll get it. So at that point, I was like, okay, great. We go down. There's a police station 10 minutes away. Get there. They made me sit, asked me a bunch of stuff about the wallet. They send it out in a radius to like probably 15-mile radius to like 20 police stations. We get a call, or they get a call 15 minutes after. The wallet's in this station. It was recovered yesterday. It had this much in it. You're not missing any money. It had all your cards, and it's free to pick up now. And here's the directions.
It's not happening in Colorado or LA.
I assure you that's not going to happen anywhere else, my man. That's when I knew I was in Japan.
Right? So while you were there, what would you say like your most wildest like car experience was? Was it the Hakone?
That's a very close one, actually, to the wildest one. I would say it's a mix between Hakone and the initial D trip. And the reason why is because of the sheer amount of stuff and of places you get to see. Like, if you're a fan of stuff like that, even if you're not a fan of Initial D, you can see all that Japan has to offer and all the roads and what toge is, what real actual toge roads are. Once you go into that route, you're going to see, oh my God, Japan, this is a driving country. This is a country that you would love to go in and drive as much as you can and appreciate the very good roads.
It's
all the
expensive to
scenery.
drive there, though.
Super expensive. To anybody that...
The toll road every
the
10
tolls,
feet.
yeah,
Yeah,
tolls
like-
was something that you can...
Hakone. When we drove from Narita to Hakone and from Hakone back to Tokyo, it was 3 cars. We spent by each car $150 on tolls alone.
Well,
Yes.
worth it though, wasn't it?
Yes.
Worth it, totally worth it.
Oh, yeah, it was
What was
worth
your
it.
favorite shop that you went to while you guys were out there?
Favorite shop?
There's quite a few.
Yeah, because we went to Spoon Type 1. People there were super nice. We went to Ari Yamamiya, where we actually met Isami Yamamiya.
Isami-san
Super
was
cool
amazing guy.
We went, the
MCR.
MCR, Masters of Crowd Racing. But I'll be honest, well, when it comes to shops, I liked MCR because I knew who they were. And I knew all these other spots, but MCR, seeing all their cars, how humble they were. Like, we were just some guy jeans walking around. We walked maybe half an hour to get to the shop, and they're like, come on in. Look at this car. Look at that car. This is the shop car. This is Kobayashi's car. Just super inviting.
Yeah, when we were there,
So
we
that's
saw...
my favorite shop.
Yeah, for sure, man. When we went there, we saw Kobayashi's like latest
Personal
R34
34.
GTR. It was a dream because you would see it in Best Motoring,
Right?
and you would see it in an option video, Best Motoring, and just to see it in person, it just blew my mind. Now, what blew me even more was when we went to the back of the shop, we saw the infamous red R34 GTR.
Active, right?
Yeah, an active red R34 GTR that Kobayashi used to take to the Best Motoring and option videos. Right there, sitting in the yard. And we were so shocked to see it. It was like, oh my God, I dream about
The
seeing this
legend.
car. The
Yes.
legend is right here with me.
Just there.
So yeah, that was just a great experience just to see all that, JDM legends in one shop. You know?
Yes. So, I guess to kind of cap this part of this, and this will be an ongoing thing that we do. Obviously we're just trying to share our stories and let people know. 'Cause,
Right.
For us, it's all about the passion. I would like to leave a mark that we were able to share that same culture and vibe here that we experienced there. And so going into the next future, as these cars become more collectible, I really look forward to working with you guys
Of course.
to, build and expand this culture and, help people live their dreams.
That's what we're here
Yeah,
for.
and-
That's the main reason why we exist.
Yeah, show people what we love and make them a part of it.
This guy loves it so much. He drove our Hino Ranger
Oh, yeah.
with a Nissan Pulsar
True.
and a Starlet on top of it, all the way from Florida to Colorado.
True.
And that thing on a straight, maybe downhill, barely made 60 miles per hour.
That's love.
Going up hills, it did about 30, 35
We appreciate
with
your service.
a 10 gallon diesel tank.
10-gallon tank. Every
10-gallon
3
tank.
hours, new gas.
Every 3 hours. Stop. Fill
That
up,
was great.
Let's go again.
There's no more JDM than that.
Yeah.
That's I think
Yeah.
I've done the best road trips in JDMs because not only obviously the ones in Japan to Hakone, but the one in the Hino. Plus, I have a K car, my Daihatsu Mira. That thing barely does 80 miles per hour because it's capped there. And I drove it from Florida to Nebraska, where I used to live, and I used to move back to Florida, and I drove it back.
Yeah.
You're a battle tested, my friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are all battle tested. We all really love what we do. We all really love sharing it with everybody. And
Yes, sir.
you know,
That is what we do, man. I mean, this is a very passionate thing. I mean,
Yeah.
for us, it's just about the passion, man. Just seeing us, getting into these cars and making other people enjoy what we want to do.
I appreciate you.
So,
Anthony, thank you.
brother.
Papa JDM, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Until next time, guys.